Today on Dr. Phil.
My husband threw me away like a piece of trash.
Did you have a girlfriend?
Yes.
He had a midlife crisis,
What happened? Did you just wake up stupid one morning?
so she had one too.
This man, when I met him, my legs buckled.
Did you spend the weekend with him?
I spent the week with him.
Well, plot thickens.
Her husband was ready to call it quits.
When he asked me for a divorce, I told him he needed to get his testosterone levels checked. I just thought, maybe he's dipping. Women dip, they go up and down and they dip. And I thought maybe Danny was dipping.
Now he wants her back.
You want to put this back together, even though you blew it up.
Yes.
She took up with another man, and instantly, your midlife crisis was over. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've hurt long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
Roll second. Take
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Go, Dr. Phil.
How you doing? Thanks, guys. All right. Well, my first guest, Judy, says that she had the perfect husband for the first 30 years of marriage. They shared date nights, vacations, weekends, camping, and trips to Disney World with their precious daughter. Judy says her husband was her soulmate and he was her best friend. And Danny agrees. He says, look, it was a true fairy tale marriage until last year when he says he turned into a complete monster. That's what he says. Now he's here to find out if the damage he's done to his relationship can ever be repaired. Take a look.
My marriage was a wonderful marriage. Every marriage has its ups and downs. We didn't have very many downs.
Judy and I had a picture-perfect marriage. I believe we were made for each other.
In my mind, I thought things started to change when his father passed away.
Last year, when I turned 53, I felt like I was at the end of my life, and you just want to live every day like it's your last day.
I didn't know what was going on with my husband. He started not coming home from work until later in the evening. I said, why would you not come home after you're working 12 hours?
When I had the midlife crisis mindset, just breaking the normal routine was a sense of freedom for me, wanting to do what I wanted, when I wanted to do it, for as long as I wanted to do it.
I would try my best to shake his being. I love you, why are you doing this? And it didn't rock him. I said, you're like an ice man. You're so cold and distant. Are you in there? And then he started getting angry.
Just really didn't want anybody to question me for what I was doing or where I had been. Normal things in life would make me angry. Always had a lot of questions in my head swirling around like a tornado.
He would always go downstairs and make coffee and donuts, and he would bring it up to me before he went to work. And he kissed me goodbye, I love you, baby, have a good day, and off he would go. That evening he came home, he says, Judy, I want to tell you something. I want a divorce. I don't want to be the perfect husband. I just want to live a single life. But everything's going to be okay. And he laughed at me. I said, what is wrong with you? And that's when it started to fall apart.
I did tell her I wanted a divorce, but I cannot remember anything about that day. It is a blur.
There were no real signs. I just thought my husband was being challenged with mourning the death of his father.
After I asked Judy for a divorce, I stayed 5 more months before I actually moved out.
Danny had become very secretive. I hired a private investigator because I thought my husband was mentally ill. The private investigator told me that a woman had stayed the night at Danny's house.
When Judy questioned me about the other woman, I did lie to her.
He was furious. He was so upset, he pulled out of the driveway cussing me. Danny never cussed me. And that's when it really started going bad.
Well, Judy says when she found out that Danny was having an affair, she raged in a way she never thought she was capable of.
Judy came to the house, knocked on the door. I didn't let her come in because there was someone else there.
I thought it was odd he wasn't answering the door, but his truck was there. I went into Danny's truck and retrieved his cell phone. I started reading all these text messages from the girl he was seeing. Love you, Tiger. Gonna be blonde tonight. I'm scared. You gonna hurt me? I was standing there reading these messages, and Danny walked over to me and grabbed my arm, and something in me just let loose. I just took my fist and beat my husband in his head.
She did hit me quite a few times upside the head and in the face.
I got back in the car and I left and went to a parking place and just cried and screamed. I called 3 people to let them know that if I go to jail, please come bail me out because my husband will probably press charges against me.
Okay, I know why he's here. You want to put this back together?
Absolutely.
No question about it?
No question.
Whatever it takes, you want to put this back
Whatever
together?
it takes.
Even though you blew it up?
Yes.
Okay. Why are you here?
I need help. I look at him and my heart loves him, but I'm so mad at him.
So why did you do this? What happened? Did you just wake up stupid one morning? What
Pretty
happened?
much, yes.
Because that's how you describe it, right? You said, I don't know. I just...
That feeling and mindset consumed me fairly quickly, and I had no idea what the definition of a midlife crisis was at that time.
Well, what is that? You said you didn't know what midlife crisis was. I still don't know what that means. You hear it a lot, you see it a lot, but what is that?
After the fact, after I'd read a lot of stuff she had put on the computer, it's a life-changing events like getting out of a routine or a schedule, doing things you normally would not do.
At that point, you said you wanted to live every day like it was your last.
That's the feeling that you get.
Days weren't long enough, he said.
Right. Well, they were long enough to get a mistress, and yours were long enough to get a PI.
Yes.
So
That did eventually come, yes.
right. Now, you left her a note. Tell me about this note.
At that point, I had begged my husband, threw myself at him, trying to save the marriage. And I come home one day, and there was this note.
Well, I have the note. You said, at one point, you said, quote, "I'm moving on with my life. I don't need your permission. I will do the divorce with or without your permission.
He did say that.
I suggest you move forward. Find a friend or whatever. Protect yourself and be careful." Did you have a girlfriend at that point?
Yes.
Yes,
This year.
I did.
Yes. I know because I left him a Valentine's card on the counter telling him that I still loved him. He threw it away in the trash. I have every card that he's ever given me. 33 years worth. When he asked me for a divorce, I told him he needed to get his testosterone levels checked. I just thought, maybe he's dipping. Women dip, they go up and down and they dip. And I thought maybe Danny was dipping. I didn't know that a man could dip. But he did. He was dipping. And I thought, well, we're going to find out. So I took him to his family the family physician.
Yes.
And they did blood work. And that day I told the doctor, I said, there's something wrong with my husband. There's something wrong with him.
He's dipping.
Can't you help him? And she said, well, his blood tests come back okay. Everything's okay. And that's when I told her that there was something terribly wrong with this man. Yeah. Because you don't stay married 31 years and live the beautiful life that we had, and all of a sudden, he's just ready to toss it in the trash and walk away from everything. His daughter, his grandchildren, me, his partner in life. This man worshiped the ground I walked on. We took baths together every night. You don't do that.
We did.
How many people can say they take a bath with their husband every night?
We probably had a connection.
Certainly not my wife.
We probably had a connection a few couples have.
But let's take a break here. Judy took the note to heart. She did. He said, you need to find yourself a friend. She did. And is now caught between two lovers. We'll be right back.
I met a gentleman. It was a total instant attraction. When Danny found out that I was away with a man, he was going to drive to get me and make me come home. I'm on vacation with another man because my husband threw me away like a piece of trash.
Well, Danny says his midlife crisis hit at age 53, and in an instant, he decided to end his 30-year-long, too-good-to-be-true marriage to Judy. Now, after 10 devastating months, Judy says, she said, I got to start my life again. So she joined a dating website and met a man who she says she cannot stop thinking about.
I decided after 10 months that I needed to move forward with my life. I knew that he was not coming back, that he didn't want me. I was sitting on my couch Sunday evening, and I was on Match.com, and I decided to join.
Judy signed on to an online dating site and did tell me how many hits she got. The purpose behind that was to try and make me jealous.
I met a gentleman on Match.com. We had a phone conversation, and he did want to meet me. I walked up to him, embraced him, and I had not felt that way for a long time. It was a total instant attraction. My knees buckled when he grabbed me. This man changed everything. That first date was a wonderful week of my life. He took me away on vacation, and we just enjoyed each other's company.
I came over to the house. Judy had left me a note on the counter that she had met someone and had gone away for the weekend.
Something woke up inside of him, and he realized that his wife was no longer there.
I did call her, crying to her on the phone, asking her to come back home to forgive me and telling her that I wanted her back in my life.
When Danny found out that I was away with a man, he was going to drive to get me and make me come home. He was calling my family, he was calling me, and it got to the point where Lawrence told me to turn the phone off. I'm on vacation with another man because my husband threw me away like a piece of trash. He didn't want me anymore.
Well, plot thickens. So that was a big step for you to go on a dating website.
It was.
Because like you said, 33 years together, 30 years of marriage, then all of a sudden you're with a stranger.
I had been waiting for 10 months, and it was to the point where I just could not do it anymore. I thought I had waited long enough. This man showed no emotion. He showed me that he wasn't going to come home. So when I decided to go on that website and go on a date, which is something I had not hardly ever done in my life because I'd been with Danny, it was something new and exciting. And this man, when I met this man, he was genuine. And we met, and I actually, the day we met, that day, he threw his driver's license up on the table. He said, take a picture of this, send it to your mother, your brother, your sister, I'm taking you away. And I said, no, you're not. We went to dinner, had a really long dinner. That evening, he says, so you're going to go away with me? I said, yeah, what time you picking me up? And he took me away. We had a beautiful time, and immediately, this man just grabbed hold of my heart. I never wanted another man to touch me. I never wanted another man. I never wanted anybody else but Danny. You know, he's all I wanted.
I wasn't gone 10 months either.
Well, it was almost, it
I
was.
didn't move out until February.
I know, but you asked for the divorce in September.
I was emotionally not
Listen,
there.
I'm going to try to help you here, but this ain't about the math, okay? This is not about calendar math.
It's been like 10 years to me. It might have been 2 months, but it was 10 months.
Okay, was this the first man that you met when you went on the dating site?
No, I met one other gentleman for lunch. We had a lunch date, and
Didn't click?
no, because it wasn't anything I was looking for. I wasn't looking for a husband or a lover, or I was looking to get out of the house to find a friendship.
What was the difference between the first guy you met for lunch and the second guy you went away with?
Well, the second guy I went away with, when I met him, my legs buckled. He grabbed the hold of me. He grabbed a hold of me when I got out of the car at the racetrack, and he just grabbed a hold of me and says, come on, girl, we're going to go in here and talk. And we spent the whole afternoon into the evening together. And I felt so safe. It was a feeling I'd not had for a very long time. I mean, your legs just don't buckle when you meet people. No. And I work around a lot of men, professional people. Yeah. So this is not anything that is normal.
This was the first buckle.
Absolutely, it was. It was.
Yeah. In 2 ways?
Yes.
I mean, did you spend the weekend with him?
I spent the week with him.
The week?
I did.
Yeah.
And Danny, when he found that letter, because I asked him to watch the house. Nobody knew that I was going anywhere except for my sister. And I left on a counter Lawrence's information on the counter in case I disappeared. Because you don't know when you go away with a man, you don't know if he's going to bring you back.
Right. You left a note to him to keep an eye on the house?
I
'Cause
did.
You were going, did you tell him where you were going?
No,
Did you tell him you were going with a man?
no.
You said, I'm out of here.
I said, I'm going to go away for a while. Please watch the house. I'll be back. I might have even put that I'll be back the following weekend or something.
Yeah.
And then on the other counter, I left all Lawrence's contact information, the color of his truck, his driver's license, in case, his website, in case I disappeared.
Okay. Now, is it my understanding, there's no country song that says, how can I miss you if you won't leave? She left. She took up with another man.
She did.
And instantly, your midlife crisis was over. And you texted Lawrence and told him to back off.
I love this woman more now than ever.
How can she know that it's not going to happen again next month or next year? Danny says when he found out Judy was on a weekend-long date with another man, he suddenly, in his words, in an instant, wanted Judy back. Now, here's an excerpt from a note that he wrote to her to try to get her back. He said, quote, my tornado has stopped. The trigger was you might be with someone else, and that made me realize how much I love you. I am more in love with you now. I was never going to divorce you. That's why I never took any more furniture. I was just being an with my temper, but it is all gone. I will get you anything, rings, cars, or we can travel anywhere. I have made one mistake in 33 years. I think I deserve a second chance. We're humans, not machines. We can start with counseling again. And you texted Lawrence and told him to back off.
At that very weekend, the same weekend she went away, I told him that, yes, I did. The number was on the counter. I did text him, and I asked him to, as man to man, please back off. Let me try and fix my marriage. We have a daughter, grandchildren.
Did you know that he got a text?
Yes, Lawrence told me that he had texted Danny, and he wanted to know how Danny got the text number. Because if I did not give it to him, that he was, he didn't really like that. But he did tell Danny that Danny is the one that brought the evil into the marriage, and that he wasn't going to walk away unless I told him to. He had no intentions of giving in to Danny.
So now you are completely clear on what you want to do.
Absolutely.
You want your marriage back together, your relationship back together, you want your wife back, you want to get back to this unreal life that you had before.
Yes, I am 10 times more appreciative of what I had or maybe still have than ever before. I love this woman more now than ever. Even after 33 years being together, my love is probably 10 times stronger. Obviously, because I've been waiting and just waiting for her to maybe, I never know when the next day she might wake up and say, I want to fix things with my husband again. So I'm more appreciative of my life, my wife, my beautiful family.
Okay, but since you don't have any insight into why you just woke up and turned into a monster or whatever.
No.
Iceman.
Iceman, monster, got stupid, whatever we call it.
My brother has a version of it. He's a Christian man. He says maybe the devil's tried to divert you because of you coming closer to Christ, and I can't. He's my brother, and I can't ignore what he's saying.
Well, no, but I don't think the devil made me do it's going to get you.
No, I'm not saying that's what happened. That's his version of what he thinks.
I don't. Listen, I'm very much a Christian, and I don't make light of any of that at all. But since you don't have insight into why this happened to begin with, how can she know that it's not going to happen again next month or next year? Because it seems, and I don't mean to, this is not an insult to you, it's just, please, but you see this, if there's a dog in the backyard and they've got a toy or a bone over there, it can lay there forever and the dog not have any interest into it. But you let another dog walk in that gate and walk over to that toy or bone and you got you a dog fight going on because the dog wasn't interested in the toy or the bone till another dog was. Then all of a sudden he wants to repossess it. He wants to re-own it. But then as soon as he does, then it loses its interest to him again. And that she's got to be thinking here, okay, so he instantly wanted me back when somebody else showed an interest in me, but he sure didn't for months before that. So now he repossesses me, the other dog walks out of the yard, and then I'm just over there again like the forgotten toy.
I understand her.
That's got to be
I
part of your
her.
concern, because you're saying, am I going to walk away from Lawrence
Right.
and back
Why
to
would I
him?
give up a good thing and go back to something that almost destroyed me? Why would I give him that?
Well, I'm going to answer that. Next, Judy says she can't choose between her husband, Danny, and her boyfriend, Lawrence. Danny, 33 years history. Lawrence buckled her knees. She wants to make a decision and says, whatever I say goes. I don't want that responsibility, but I am going to give him some things to think about. We'll be right back.
I'm in this situation now where I have my husband pulling on me, wanting me to come back to him, and then I have Lawrence on the other hand that wants to spend the rest of his life with me.
A couple months ago, I moved back into our home. We decided to try and fix our marriage. Everything was like normal. During those 4 days, it was like a honeymoon again. We were intimate every day. And then 4 days later, she said she wasn't ready to do it yet.
As long as I have those visions in my head of that other woman, I can't fix this.
She's still angry for what I had done and also had feelings for another person. So I continued living there, sleeping in another bedroom. She would continue to see him.
Bringing Danny back into the home has really impaired my relationship with Lawrence. I don't let Lawrence pick me up at my house. If I go away with Lawrence, I meet him somewhere. You have to be respectful.
Well, comment on that.
That's very painful to stay at home and watch that happen.
I've
But
been very tortured since I let him move back in to see that I'm still living my life, one day at a time.
But I have
But
a
you say it's respectful to go meet your
It's-
boyfriend down the street.
Well, the way I look at this is Danny dissolved my marriage vows. I have a marriage certificate. I don't have a marriage. He dissolved the vows that we took before God, and he dissolved them with his actions. So I don't have a marriage. I have a marriage certificate that holds me legally bound to him and all our assets together. But as for Lawrence coming and picking me up, I didn't want to disrespect Danny or hurt Danny. Danny is being tortured ever since he moved back into the house to see that Judy is up, functioning, living her life, and moving on one day at a time. Judy can't take a week at a time, but Judy can do one day at a time. And as for Lawrence, Lawrence is willing to accept one day at a time. You know, he knows that there might not be a tomorrow for him. He wants me to be happy, and he wants me to be in my happy place. Danny did not care if I had a happy place. And for him to want me back now, how do I trust that? I don't know how to trust that. But I'm like thinking like you were just saying. The dog didn't want the bone, and then the dog wants the bone now because another dog wanted the bone. You know. So
I knew you'd get it.
I got it. I got it.
I knew you'd
But the
get it.
thing is, Lawrence doesn't want to give up his bone now. He's not willing to do that.
and neither does Danny.
But I'm at the point where now, you know, I don't know if I want to be married ever again.
It's time for me to tell you what I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I say something?
No. You just want to know.
You are still hugely pissed. If you want to be happy and at peace this time next year, then you will make the investment of doing what I'm going to ask you to do. You have unfinished emotional business with him.
I do.
You are still hugely pissed.
I'm hugely pissed, and I'm, you know, Dr. Phil, here's the thing. I've loved this man with all my heart. Sexually attracted to him after 33 years, can't get enough. You know, I'm sorry.
No, I
I'm
get
sorry.
it. I get it. Look, here's the thing. Lawrence, charming, fun, high-risk guy, though, right? You recognize the high
Right,
risk? I'm
right.
telling you, high risk. Okay, here you have unfinished emotional business. If you want to be happy and at peace this time next year, then you will make the investment of doing what I'm going to ask you to do. Give me 90 days to arrange some very specialized help for the two of y'all to work through where you are right now. If you go with Lawrence right now, you will spend the rest of your life wondering what it is that caused you to walk away from a 30-year family. Your daughter, the grandchildren, that, all of the things that y'all created together. And it's going to have to involve forgiving him. That doesn't mean you will forget it. You got to be willing to let that go. And there may be some things, you may need a pound of flesh before you do that. There may be some things you need to work out. And I will arrange some very, just as our gift to y'all, I will arrange some very specialized help to do this. Give me 90 days, or if it's 60 days, whatever the intensity is, but I need a period of time for you to finish this business and then look at him where you don't see that other woman. You see the man that you spent 33 years with that got dinner ready for you so you could watch me. Okay? If I arrange this for you, and I mean, I will start it right now. I mean, by the time y'all get back, where you're in the air, this will be getting worked on for you to get this help and move forward. Will you give us that time? Now, there's a kicker. No Lawrence during that time.
Okay.
No Lawrence during that time. You got to
Right
say.
now? Starting right now?
You can talk to him. You can talk to him and tell him what you're going to do and ask him to respect that period. But you never solve problems in a marriage by turning away from your partner. And you never solve them by bringing in a third party.
Okay.
Okay, so will you do that?
I will. I will.
Fair enough?
I will. Thank you.
Okay, fair enough?
Thank you. Oh, absolutely.
Okay. That's why I was telling you. Up next, another wife torn between her husband and another man, her doctor. Why? Well, every time she gets a headache, she thinks it's brain cancer, or a case of dry heaves is a tumor. Her poor husband is beyond frustrated. We'll talk to them next.
If I have a headache, dizziness, I am automatically worried that there is a brain tumor. I get myself all worked up and I think I'm dying.
She always seems to have some life or death thing with her.
My next guest, Heather, constantly thinks she's dying from some terrible disease. She's only 28 and has had more MRIs, CAT scans, x-rays, and ultrasounds than she has had birthdays. The bills are piling up, and it's not only draining them emotionally, it's also draining their bank account. Take a look.
I get very anxious about my health. If I have a headache, dizziness, I am automatically worried that there is a brain tumor. I get myself all worked up because I think I'm dying.
She always seems to have some life or death thing. It blows way out of proportion.
I've had MRI, CAT scans. I thought there was something wrong with my stomach, a tumor, cancer.
But she was fine. They couldn't find anything wrong with her.
I have a WebMD app, a Medscape app. I obsessively check it. And I get myself more worked up, so I go back and get more tests.
It frustrates me to take her to the doctor, especially when I know that there's nothing wrong. It's been a financial burden because medical bills have piled up. It was almost the point where we were living paycheck to paycheck.
I know I'm a hypochondriac because I am constantly worried about my health.
Okay, do you think you're sick?
I do. Doctors tell me I'm not, but I've convinced myself that I am.
You've been to a lot of doctors.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have to all be missing it, right?
Yeah.
This is Heather's diagnostic list. Headaches and dizziness. If you have that, that's a brain tumor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, severe headaches and dizziness, an aneurysm. You're throwing up and stomach pain, then appendicitis.
Yeah.
If you're shaking and feeling lightheaded, then you're hypoglycemic.
Yeah.
And if you're restless at night, then you've got restless leg syndrome.
Yeah. I know it sounds crazy.
So you've had a lot of tests done,
Yeah.
right? MRI 7 at $2,000 a piece, CAT scans 10 at $2,000 a piece, X-rays 9 at $300, echocardiogram 2 at $800, ultrasounds 3 at $600, colonoscopy 1 at $600, 1 radioactive egg test. Those tests, $41,700.
That makes me sick.
Just actual doctor visits, like $16,000. Treatments they've given you, $4,000. That's 20 grand. Then other treatments, seen on TV anxiety TV kit, $1,000. Acupuncture, $480. Hypnosis, $240. Talk therapy, $2,400. Another $4,000. So basically, your grand total over 7 years is approaching $70,000.
That just makes me sick.
Wow. I've never really counted it up.
How much time have you lost doing this?
I can't even think of how many days I've lost work taking her to doctor's visits and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Well, boy, do I have a solution for you. I'm going to get to in a minute.
Okay.
I mean, look, you have spent half your life driving to doctors, right? I mean, sitting in waiting rooms where you get sneezed at. I mean, you could have hired your own doctor for $70,000. You could have somebody on staff, but I'm going to change your life, and I'm going to tell you why. There is an app that we have here called Doctor on Demand, which is a company that we actually founded. In fact, it's part of our resources here at the Dr. Phil Show, Doctor on Demand. And it is exactly what it sounds like. You download an app onto your smartphone, either iPhone or Android. You push a button. Whatever your situation is, you're going to be face to face with a doctor in a matter of seconds. And you're going to have a video chat, which means you don't have to drive somewhere, you don't have to get dressed, you don't have to pay for parking, you don't have to wait 2 weeks to get an appointment, or actually it's 3 weeks is the average to get an appointment. You don't have to wait when you get in the waiting room, because waiting rooms are full of sick people. What do you think about this? How much time would this have saved you in your life?
This would have been spectacular to have. It would have made a huge difference. Yeah. We could have nipped some of the issues that she thought she was having. We could have nipped them in the bud without having to leave the house.
I actually do have some very specific advice for Heather, but it has nothing to do with her physical health. You're going to find out what that is when we come back. All right, I'm here with Heather and Jason, and Heather thinks she's sick, and she's making Jason sick of going to doctor's appointments and spending, we've just talked about, approaching $70,000 in search of an elusive and non-existent disease or disorder. Intellectually, at a cognitive level, you get that you're not sick.
I know my thoughts are crazy. They're irrational.
But yet, you still have the feeling of fear that something's going to jump up and get you.
Yeah, it's like there's this small voice inside my head that rules everything. All of my thoughts that's saying they're missing something, there's something wrong.
Do you have a fear of dying?
I do. That's my biggest fear.
Do you have a fear of being sick? I mean, of having a disease that is hurtful to you?
Yes, yeah.
It would be ugly to have.
Yeah, that would cause me to die.
Right. Okay. And here's the thing. When you said you went to a lot of therapy, what did you talk about?
A lot of it that didn't even have to do with what was going on. A lot of it was they wanted to know my background and stuff like that.
Fair questions.
Yeah, but they never really got to the point of what was going on. They never really helped me.
And what do you think's going on?
Honestly, I have no idea. That's why I'm here. I want you to tell me.
All right. What people don't understand, and when I was in private practice, my practice was in something called behavioral medicine. And that's the point at which psychological functioning and physiological functioning merge and influence each other. What people don't understand is that we can get locked into a neurological pattern where it's kind of like a racetrack with no exit ramp.
Yeah.
You go around, you keep looking for a way to get off, and your brain can't do that. And for you, you're in a closed system about being sick and the anxiety that goes along with it. And the reason she keeps going to the doctor is not hoping that she'll be sick, but to get a reassurance, a fix for just a few minutes that she's okay. The anxiety lessens and it begins to build back up again.
Yeah.
All right, so what has to happen is we have to deal with that anxiety, but a simple anti-anxiety agent won't help it because you've got a neurological pattern here that has to be dealt with. So in your defense, some of this may very well be involuntary for her at this point. It's so overlearned. There's an old joke about people that have been in prison for a long time and they're only around each other and they've told the same jokes so much that they don't even need to tell them anymore. They just yell, 27, and everybody breaks out laughing.
Yeah.
You know, it's called automatic thought. And that's what happens here. You have an automatic thought and you have jumped into this
Over and over and over.
before you have a chance to actually challenge it. So there are some very specific treatments for this available at this point, and it involves some sonic brain stimulation, and it involves some skill sets that you can use to cope with this anxiety other than getting a fix from a doctor.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is not set you up with a talking therapist, but set you up with a specialist for hypochondriasis that can deal with this neurologically and psychologically at the same time. And here's the good news. This tends to change with you getting some tools and some power beginning almost immediately and then getting better across time.
Okay.
And so are you willing to do that? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you certainly don't have an aversion
I've tried
to go to
everything
doctors,
else, so.
but this is going to be a very specialized doc, and I don't want you involved.
Okay.
You don't go with her. You don't, we're going to handle this completely differently. That's another issue of this. You've got to deal with this completely on your own.
Okay.
All right? Are you willing to do that?
Yeah.
You got to just step up and do it.
Yeah.
All right, so there is help for this. All right, I want to thank all of my guests today. I'm really proud of Doctor On Demand and really proud to be part of that team. You guys think that's a good thing, Doctor On Demand? I mean, come on. More information about the Doctor On Demand app, go to our website, drphil.com. You'll use it at home because I tell you, we use it here. Thanks a lot. So long. I'm going to set this up for you right away. Make some impression. Thanks, guys.